Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Our presentation is We've Got Your Back, team up with Microsoft security experts to respond to critical threats. And I know it sounds sort of silly, maybe cliche even, but we really believe in it, and we hope to show you over the next 45 minutes that we have with you today. And I know some of you are probably in a rush to get off to the evening party, but please bear with us. Our approach to security includes you in the picture, which is a lot different than I think some of our other security companies and even a lot of our competitors. We make products that offer world-class protections and detections, but we also make ourselves available to you in ways that a lot of other companies don't provide, and you'll hear a little bit about that as we continue on. And our humans power our products, and obviously we give you access to our humans.
Cool. Thank you, Eric. My name is Brian Hooper. I lead a service called Microsoft Threat Experts. And unfortunately, Jessica Payne wasn't able to be here today. She really, really wanted to. And unfortunately, she had some health issues, so she wasn't able to join us. But possibly just as good as Jessica in person is disembodied voice of Jessica.
Virtual Jessica, if you will.
Virtual Jessica. Yeah, we were joking before. We wanted the hologram, like help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, right here of Jessica. Unfortunately, we couldn't make that work. But next best thing, we've got Jessica audio and video for you.
So we'll be going through a couple of slides for Jessica.
Security is top of mind. Decisions are being made in the boardroom, in emergencies, and in security teams. IT professionals feel left out of these security conversations. This is a problem. The IT professionals being left out is because it's a problem because it disempowers the very people who manage and control the settings that attackers are preying on. Let's look at the headlines from 2019. We have cities spending millions to recover from ransomware attacks, companies unable to do business due to ransomware attacks, hospitals unable to treat patients due to ransomware attacks. Why is this still happening in 2019? When we think about how these things are usually covered, the stories that you hear, the information that comes out of these incidents, it's usually all about the malware. We hear about the ransomware, but in reality, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In these incidents, the things that actually contributed to the problems, the things that are actually what the attackers are playing on, they're misconfigurations in a network, things that the IT professionals would know about and can help with if they're made aware of them. Matching local administrator passwords, no antivirus on the servers, exposed remote desktop servers, software that's running as a domain admin account, Active Directory misconfigurations. When we think about these type of settings, these are the settings that are actually responsible for those ransomware incidents that you keep seeing in the news. There's nothing magical about the malware that's being used. The attackers are doing the attack. These are human-driven incidents. They're human-operated ransomware campaigns. And when we think of how that's presented to you, that's that traditional threat intelligence report, where we have hash values, IP addresses, and malware write-ups with reverse engineering in it. These are the pieces of information that usually reach companies, and they usually reach the security department, who then has to trickle that information out to the IT professionals. And that makes it difficult to fix things, because when we think about how companies want to fix things, they're going to be trying to do the same things that they know about and what's made available to them. It's a little bit like being on a hamster wheel. You can only see what's in front of you, and you can only fix what you know about. Let's take a look at a kill chain here. Kill chain means an attack history in security terminology. Now, this is an attack that's going to be covered in a lot deeper detail later in the talk. But during this attack, which was by an advanced adversary, one of those nation-state attackers, at every stage of this attack, there were alerts that fired within Windows Defender ATP. The customer that has happened to was empowered to know what was happening on their network and know that an attacker was there. But what happens to those alerts? Typically what we find is that the customers are having trouble getting to the root cause of why they were attacked, and that allows the attackers to come back Because if we think about an alert, why are things not getting any better? Because if we respond to an alert without context, we remediate a single threat. So when a security operations center is dealing with an alert and they take advantage of the tools that are available to them to remediate a malware alert, they're remediating the malware alert. Perhaps they're deeply investigating it, but we're not necessarily taking into consideration the security configurations of the network that allowed this malware to execute in the environment. And when we think about getting off of the hamster wheel, this can be scary because oftentimes the first time that people learn that they are knowing about an incident in their environment, it's an incident response, and they're desperate for any advice about how to get better, and they're going to listen to what happens, and it can be incredibly overwhelming. Because if we think about how incident response recovery advice is usually presented, when we come in as Microsoft and we want to provide advice about how to harden a network, it might look a little bit like this. We might want to do a full incident response. We might want to look at the entire network. We'd request that you stop running your services and software as a domain administrator account. We want you to harden your Active Directory configuration and ensure that it's not susceptible to attacks. We want people to not use passwords like Summer 2019, which are easily attacked via password spray. We want you to manage your Microsoft Office macros, whether through newly released features presented at Ignite or through good old-fashioned group policy, because almost every attack right now likes to use macros. We want you to not expose remote desktop protocol on the internet with a short password, making yourself susceptible to brute force. But if we think about what other advice might be coming out there, it might be as simple as update your virus definitions. And if you're someone that's in the middle of an incident response and you're not even sure how you got off the hamster wheel and you're not sure where to go next and you're not sure if you're going to have a job tomorrow, it's really kind of tempting to kind of look at this advice and think, wow, that's a lot of work. Ooh, I like that one. That one's easy. But what that means is that you're right back on the hamster wheel. You're right back on that hamster wheel and you don't necessarily know what's behind you. And what's behind you as you're running in the same direction is the lurking security misconfigurations in your network. And it's going to come back and it's going to help make attackers able to attack you again. We want to do something different. When we provide intelligence, we want to provide actionable threat intelligence. When we talk about actionable threat intelligence, what that is it's putting a piece back in that puzzle. Instead of the hash values, IP addresses, and malware reports standing alone, we want to bring you context. And the context that we provide tells you about the configurations in the networks and why attackers are doing the certain things that they're doing, giving you information about how you can understand your own network better. Because if we think about how Microsoft Threat Intelligence is built, we build it off of signals. We have Defender Antivirus, which is installed on 500 million endpoints worldwide. We have Defender ATP, this world-class post-exploitation telemetry that will show us exactly what an attacker is doing on a network. We have Office ATP, and we have all the different pieces of telemetry that are available to us as Microsoft, including crash dumps, which allow us insight into exploit development. But really what's important here is that our intelligence is driven by humans. This is human-driven intelligence. One of the ways that we drive this intelligence is through a process we call false negative hunting. We like to assume we're wrong. That may seem shocking, but every single day we go out and we search for things that are undetected. And through this searching for the undetected, we build better detections and we understand more what's actually happening in the threat landscape. We're able to provide the real story, not just about a single incident or not just about a single threat, but about how the attacker's psychology essentially is utilizing network misconfigurations. Because if you think about traditional on-site incident response, through bandwidth reasons alone, you're doing about 5 of those a month. What we do is every day we see about 5 full-scale incidents where we investigate multiple compromised machines in a network, produce a write-up, and understand what had happened. That's the power of what we do with the false negative hunting, and the managed hunting that we do, and that human-driven intelligence. Because when we want to put that hamster off the wheel, we don't want to leave you abandoned. We want to make sure that when you have an incident and that you realize you have a problem, we want to give you superpowers. And we use that human-driven intelligence to teach you how to build castle walls and maybe shoot some fireballs. And one of the ways that we teach these superpowers is through something that's built right into Windows Defender ATP, and it's called Threat Analytics. And I'm going to walk you through a demo of that right now.
So one of the ways that we help you develop these superpowers is we actually bake something into the Defender Security Center, into the ATP console that's called Threat Analytics. So let's take a look there. So over here on their dashboards, if we click on Threat Analytics here, so Threat Analytics is a place where you can come to get cutting edge or breaking news about different threats directly from Microsoft. But it's also, more importantly, a place where you can get that clarity and focus about which threats are actually affecting your environment, so that you can get that information to know how to harden your network and what actually matters to you. So in the Threat Analytics console, you can see the latest threats. So these are the new things that are coming out, or the news-making things, or different campaigns that we've discovered, because we actually published some really cool cutting-edge research in here of stuff that we've seen that nobody else has. But here we see at the top here, latest threats, exploitation of CVE 2019-0708 in RDP. That very boring title means the Blue Keep vulnerability in RDP was being used massively to install coin miners over the weekend. So this is new, this is fresh, this is top of the press. And this is something that you can get that direct information from Microsoft in a rapid manner, and that's super cool in my opinion. I used to be a customer and I would have loved to have had that. So we have that, and let's click in there because this is a write-up that we just wrote and we just published in here. So when we look at a threat analytics article, what we're going to see is we're going to see obviously like an executive summary here, and we're going to see the write-up of the threat in a very detailed threat intelligence report where we can find out what's going wrong, why it's bad, and kind of how to fix it here. That's the format that we use. You can also see the impact. You can get a lot of really cool numbers in here about who's being affected and where they are. And then in the analysis section here, this is where we really break it down by behaviors, because that behavioral overlap is really what's going to give you that insight of what needs to be fixed in your network. Because instead of worrying about a group or a name or a certain scary thing, worry about what's actually going to be something that you can use as a choke point in your network. So if people are using a certain technique constantly, we can try to use those behaviors to get that focus. And this MITRE framework, the attack framework, really gives us a great language to kind of express that there. And you can see that we have the technique or the threat, and then we obviously have the protections here. So we'll give you the information about how to stop it there. And then we'll give you some more write-up here. But here's where I think everything is really, really different, and I think this is such an important part. This is where the superpowers come in, because not only are we telling you how to detect it or what our signatures are or how our product's going to tell you about it, we have this section here called mitigations. And these mitigations are how you can actually harden your network, how you can do things that don't just rely on patching or don't just rely on a product. Because we know how the real world works, and we know that you're going to have SLAs, you're going to have vendors, you're going to have contracts, you're going to have managed systems, you might have outsourced devices in your environment. You may not be able to patch immediately. You may not be able to do the expected mitigation. But we want to put you, the IT professional and the security departments, in control of your own security destiny. We believe in our products. We believe that we are the best out there at detecting these things and alerting our customers, but we want to give you the information you need to harden your network. We want you to be able to have that defense in depth and understand what's actually going on in a network and how you can actually make these systems not susceptible to certain classes of attacks. So in the mitigation section here, specifically for the RDP vulnerability, you'll see that we have enable network level authentication for RDP. Now this is actually going to break the Blue Keep vulnerability implementation, which is an unauthenticated code execution. So this is someone that's able to run code on your box as system as the highest level without authenticating. That's about as bad as it gets. And what you can do with the Blue Keep vulnerability in specific is just enable network level authentication, and it will actually break that implementation of it. But maybe you want to go a little bit more depth. Maybe you want to actually block RDP threats at a wider level. So we talk about actually using the Windows firewall. So if you're able to configure a firewall such as the Windows firewall to block the communications to the RDP port to 3389 TCP to just the systems that need it, or maybe you're able to put it behind some sort of authentication method, you're going to really break a lot of RDP vulnerabilities like RDP brute force and things like that. So this is where we're able to give you those superpowers to actually understand how to not just understand the threat, but understand how to harden your network against it and sort of break entire classes of attacks. And when we do that, if we go back to the threat portal here, Notice the ones that are affecting this environment. This one that says VPN exploits and manganese attacks, that one might seem scary because that's a tracked threat actor group, one of those APTs or nation states or all those scary words in capital letters. It's not affecting this environment. It probably will never affect this environment. But over here, we see this one called living off the land binaries. And that one is affecting all but one of the machines in this environment. All but one of the machines in this environment has had this detection fire on it or this threat used on it. So that's probably the one I should focus on. And that's where we get you that clarity and that focus to understand your environment and what's happening there. So if I click into that, obviously, we're going to see that same in-depth analysis, that executive summary, why this is bad, how we can fix it. We'll get that write-up of a certain attack that we've seen using it, that sort of cool story from the real life, the field. But then we're going to get past the mitigations and the detections here. We actually get to see which machines are affected. And
When we talk about why we do this, why do we do this methodology we have for actionable threat intelligence? It's because of something called assume breach. You might have heard this term before, the terminology of assume breach. What that means is that you assume that at least one machine in your network has code that is able to be executed by an attacker, whether that's through something like a banking Trojan or a malicious Office macro or through some zero-day exploit in your network. There's a good chance, almost a certainty, that one of the machines in your network has control by an attacker or someone that you're not expecting. That's what assume breach is. Assume breach is being essentially sure that this is happening in your network and building a network that can be resilient and not make sure that just one machine in your network getting compromised leads to the total compromise of your network. When we talk about these ransomware attacks or the case study you're going to hear in detail later, one machine getting attacked allowed the customer's network to be penetrated and the attacker to move laterally. The lateral movement is where you can actually move from one machine to another and elevate your privilege. What we want to teach you how to do is we want to teach you how to make sure that assume breach has you looking in the right direction and building the right defenses so that the attacker can't move laterally through the network and you're aware of what they're doing. Because if you get an alert, we want to teach you how to solve what caused the alert. Alerts alone are great. Security products, we build one of the best ones in the world. I work for that team. I'm pretty proud of it. But we want you to know what caused the alert. When you get an alert that says a certain piece of malware executed, if it fires an alert that says it was delivered via Microsoft Office macro, we fire an alert that tells you how to disable those macros, how to harden your network against it. Because if you're worried about a nation state, you might not look at a piece of Office macro malware that delivered a banking Trojan and think it's related, but it is. It means your network is susceptible to the use of macros, and we want to teach you how to make it so that those attack techniques don't work in your network. Triage your attack surface. We want to triage that attack surface and not just the alerts and make sure that the network is resilient going forward. Because we want to provide clarity and focus, not just a bunch of information. Find the information that's relevant to your network. Triage the alerts that matter. Harden your network and reduce the alerts. So much we hear about alert fatigue. There's just too much going on in the environment, too many malware alerts all day. That's probably true. And that's probably something that we can help you with here. Because if you have a lot of malware alerts happening constantly, that means that there's something that's allowing that malware to come in. Let's provide that focus. Let's provide that clarity on how you can stop those issues and get us off that hamster wheel of constantly triaging those alerts. Our threat intelligence cycle. We provide the human-driven intelligence. We feed it into our hunting and our incident response teams. We validate that and build new detections. Then we make sure those detections are working. This is an iterative process that's constantly working, and it's constantly working for you, to protect you. Because we're stronger together. Curiosity and passion are what drive us forward every day. Threat intelligence is an amazing world where everything is different every single hour and every single minute of the day. There's going to be something new and exciting. But we're stronger together, and IT professionals are part of the security world. You're the basis of the networks that the security happens on. We're stronger together, and we want to embrace and empower you.
That was awesome. Before I talk about another way that Microsoft has your back and talk to you about Microsoft Threat Experts. Can we try something really quick? So Jessica will be watching this video, and I was hoping we could all give her a really, really awesome round of applause, but she has to watch through the video to the middle to get to that applause. So with me real quick. Woo! Very cool. And for Jessica, I hope you like that. Microsoft Threat Experts is a pretty new service. So I'm curious, before this week, how many people had heard of Microsoft Threat Experts? A few of you, OK. Now that you've been at Ignite, before this session, how many people learned more about it, heard about it for the first time, are excited about it, or maybe going to go try it? A couple more. Awesome. So it's a service that we announced recently. We actually announced it back in February, and there's 2 capabilities within it. And I'll tell you more about what those capabilities are, how we provide superhuman powers, how we partner with customers, ultimately how we have your back. One of those went generally available in April. I'm very excited because the second one, Experts on Demand, generally available as of last Monday. One thing to point out right off the bat, we do not intend to replace your SOC. We do not necessarily intend to replace your MSSP. Those are very, very important. Customers, large enterprises, you have a lot of things that you have to deal with, a lot of security issues you have to deal with, a lot of compliance issues you have to deal with, a lot of privacy issues you have to deal with. Microsoft Threat Experts was designed for a few things, and we want to do them extremely well when customers put their trust in us. We provide and help our customers hone in on the worst threats in their environment, the most critical threats. Things like nation-state attacks, Jessica talked about that. Things like advanced adversaries, hands-on keyboard, when people try to exfiltrate data, when people try to compromise identities. The worst threat that you can think of that faces the world or that faces you, that's what we also want to focus on. And those are the things we want to tell you about whenever we find them, whenever you face them. We help give you confidence that the threat is there, that the threat is real, and most importantly, we give you confidence in your ability to respond to that threat. A little bit more detail on how we do that. We provide very, very rich threat monitoring, critical threat monitoring, proactive hunting, powered by all of the human capabilities that Jessica talked about when she talked about those incident responses and the false negative hunting that we do, powered by the threat intelligence that Jessica's team and others inside Microsoft empower us to do, powered by the 3,500 plus security professionals at Microsoft, powered by the signals and the data and the visibility that we have into threats that our customers face worldwide. We infuse that into the Threat Expert service. That includes a lot of things like artificial intelligence and machine learning. That includes things that human beings have seen and abstracted the attacker behavior. And when we find those things, we deeply investigate them. We deeply investigate them and push them directly into your Security Center portal. That provides the confidence that our customers have when they can see the full context of the threat and when they can respond. And if they need additional help, the second capability in our service comes into play, Experts on Demand. They can reach out to us with questions, inquiries like, can you help me understand this threat? You say there's process injection going on, it's injecting into SVC host. I don't really understand this aspect of it. I don't understand how this threat got onto my environment. I don't understand if it's still active. I don't understand what they were trying to do. I don't understand why I was targeted. Or it could be a threat in the wild. Am I vulnerable to this? Do you think I am being targeted or I might be targeted? Those are perfect use cases. Those are exactly why we created Experts on Demand, to provide that help directly to our customers. I want to give you a little bit of a glimpse into what these 2 capabilities look like. And the first, please don't try to read this. You can go back later, watch the video. But it includes a lot of the rich information, the rich context that we give to our customers whenever we do that critical threat hunting and whenever we write up every aspect of the threat that we see and we push it directly to our customers. We always provide standard sections to help them immediately understand what the summary of the threat is. Why should I care about this thing you're telling me about? What the timeline is. All of those things in blue are hyperlinks. You can go back and forth between different aspects of the Security Center portal to deeply investigate the timeline of the attack, to deeply search through your environment, the visibility that Defender ATP provides to look for some of the IOCs. You don't quite see it. It's kind of cut off at the bottom of the screen. We also try to empower our customers to use some of the other features in our portal. One of the most powerful features of Defender ATP is advanced hunting. If you've never used it, please, please try it. If you want a demo of it, I think the booth is open for another hour after our talk before the party starts. Just go ask them about it. Hey, I think I heard advanced hunting. I don't really know what it is. It sounds kind of interesting. Tell me more about it. The people at the booth will be happy to talk your ear off about how awesome advanced hunting is. With every single alert that we push to our customers with Microsoft Threat Experts, we always include advanced hunting queries, right? The analogy of teaching people to fish, and they'll never be hungry. We want people to be up-leveled in their ability to use the amazing platform that Defender ATP provides them. We also provide mitigations for every threat, every alert that we push. Jessica talked about how powerful some of those mitigations can be in threat analytics. We offer those with every alert that we push as well. And when customers do have additional inquiries, when they do want additional help investigating, they can directly do that from the portal. They can engage our team. They can create a direct line of communication and say, help. So in this case, potential attack with one of those big, scary, all capitals elements, periodic table of elements. Jessica talked about that. In this example, it's barium. I don't understand why I might have been targeted. Please, please help. Am I still under active attack? Right? We push an alert. Customer ingests, understands the information. What do I do now? Right? Do I have to immediately evict them? Am I compromised even further than the information you provided me? Help. And that's exactly why we created Experts on Demand. That's exactly why these two capabilities, we believe, go really well together. We notify customers about critical threats that we see. Customers get a direct line of communication to our threat hunters, our threat experts, to help them understand more about it when they need additional help. And if they need more direct help than we can provide through Microsoft Threat Experts, Microsoft has something for that too, and Eric will tell you more about it.
Thanks, Brian. So just by a quick show of hands, who knew that Microsoft had a customer-facing incident response team? Ooh, quite a few of you. Awesome, awesome.
Just for the record, that got more hands than.
That's great. So my name is Eric Olson. I'm one of our incident response team leads, and I have the pleasure of traveling the world and helping our customers respond to security incidents. But also we work with customers proactively to help them improve their security posture, and we'll get into that in a few slides later. So detection and response team, our mission is to respond to security incidents, but I think more importantly than that, our real goal is to help customers become more cyber resilient. And we do that a couple of different ways. So we have an incident response, which could be triggered through MTE, through working with Brian's team. It could also be triggered through a customer opening up a case, telling Microsoft, hello, I need some help. And then that leads ultimately to our team arriving on site to help customers. We also have an Office 365 incident response. So when our team started off originally, we were primarily Windows only. We really didn't do anything in the cloud. And we've sort of expanded and grown, and now we can take on the capacity to help you when you've had an Office 365 security incident. But we also have two offerings that are proactive, and one of those is the cybersecurity operations service. And that is essentially we're using the same tools, we're using the same methodology to hunt through data, but it's not, I would consider it not critical. There's no evidence of a security incident. Maybe it's a matter of you may have had a security incident in the past and you just want Microsoft to come out and proactively take a look at your environment, do an assessment, and come back with results from that. We also have a security and crisis response exercise. And this is a tabletop exercise, and it's really meant to bring your organization together as a whole and sit at a table and go through some common some common scenarios that we've seen across our customers, and that's really meant to help your team put together a list of gaps and help your team understand that when there is a security incident, that we would hope you're much more equipped for it, much better equipped for it. And now let's jump into a case study. So discovery of an advanced attacker in early stages. And this is one of the incidents where our approach to intelligence and response, I think, really helped our customers. And it was really related to an advanced adversary. At Microsoft, we use the periodic table of elements to give our threat actors names. And this instance, it was Holmium. You may have heard of it as APT33. And it's been in the news a lot in the last year. And they're famous from some incidents where they perform destructive attacks. They've wiped systems out. They've caused a lot of damage to our customers. Oh, my slide did not advance here. Oh, nope. Back one, sorry. And that malware is Shamoon. I don't know if you're all familiar with that, but it's not fun. But a lot of companies that we engage with, we found that they're really focusing more on the malware instead of the root cause, the security basics, the hardening of your environment. And but for us, the real story began actually almost 2 months before that malware was even used. And let's get into that. So Holmium, they initiate password sprays and phishing against a variety of targets. And why is that successful? Why do we see that this has a high level of success at customers? And that's because a lot of customers we find that continue to struggle with the basics. They may buy a really cool tool, they may introduce a really awesome capability into their environment, but they're not focusing on things like patching or credential hygiene. And I could actually have an entire session, probably an entire day, talking about things that I've seen across customers and our team has seen across customers that have the most potential to cause damage. So once they find one of these users with local administrator access, and they will through poor credential hygiene, they're going to do that malicious document. They're going to, and if you're familiar with Powerton or Ruler, this is a attack that we've seen that they use specifically. So they change your Outlook homepage. So in a previous version of Outlook, there was a vulnerability where you could set your Outlook homepage to something, and then that Outlook homepage is actually triggering PowerShell. So if you were a threat hunter, from internally what it looks like is you see a homepage and then Outlook spawning PowerShell, which we know is definitely never good. And then from there, they get admin credential compromise. And they get that admin credential compromise through deploying subsequent tools, credential theft tools that I'm sure you're all familiar with, like Mimikatz, for example. And then they'll start to move around your network laterally. And they're really interested here in finding out what else is on the network. You know, now that they're in, what do they have access to? What can they go, what could they go take from your environment? They also set up, once an attacker gets into your network, they don't want to put all of their bets on one tool. They want to have a backup. They want to have that second tool in case you catch their first one so they can go back and switch to the other one. And then once they get that tool, in this instance it's Metasploit, Once they were caught, they switched back and they used Metasploit, and then you repeat the cycle all over again. And then after they've been there for a while, they've figured out what they like in your environment. They start to exfiltrate data, and this could be a couple of days, maybe a few hours, maybe a week of them taking data. And so you're looking at this entire chain of Holmium, and you're thinking, well, that seems like a lot of work. How long could this have all taken? In some instances, a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's not something where they plan to do this over the course of several months or even maybe a year. And then, out of nowhere, they just go silent. And then after 2 months of total domain compromise, the attacker wiped a subset of machines that they had access to. And why? Well, because they can. Maybe because of some political regions, depending on where you're at in the world. Also because the attacker probably wants to cover their tracks. Maybe they're planning to do this to another customer and they don't want those IOCs, they don't want those tactics released out to the wild and for that other customer to be able to defend themselves effectively against it. And in some environments, we saw the attacker didn't even use malware. They just wiped the machines with native commands in Windows, so using things like Cypher to wipe the disk. But Microsoft threat experts saw it all. And for our team, we'll talk about how we partner with them in just a sec. But through the visibility provided in the Defender telemetry, we were actually able to see this when we're helping our customers and say, okay, hey, we're starting to form this picture and we see these things happening that are building up. Why would Cypher be called, or why would this disk wiper be called based off of second and third order of events? I think the cool part about this is that Threat Experts was actually able to tell customers what was really happening. So while our competition was out there posting blogs, putting links, sending things on social media, on Twitter, and hey, look, check out this cool thing I found in VirusTotal. We found the attacker in VirusTotal or something. We were in the background working with our internal teams and partnering across Microsoft to help our customers respond to these incidents as quickly as they come up, which may have meant our team travels a little more, maybe some of our internal teams work longer than they normally would. And our visibility, it enabled us to give our customers a better defensive and network hardening advice than a simple malware analysis than, hey, you have this file hash, you have these malicious C2 IP addresses. No, we want to say, okay, hey, look, this is what it does. Here's what to expect, round 1, round 2, round 3. Here's how we help you defend your network better. Whereas with what we saw with some other vendors, they end their stories with, well, here's what we found. Here's a report on the malware. We don't really have potentially many recommendations that we could give to you to help you recover from this incident. And I think that's where our incident response team is definitely more equipped to help our customers. And then later on, after the customer felt comfortable that they had contained this, the attacker changed things up a little bit, and then they came back. And when they came back a second time, guess what? Threat Experts was also there to alert the customer when the adversary came back. And whereas it may have taken a week or two, gathering up all this info before, that time is much shortened because they sort of see these trends and these patterns, and they say, okay, hey, well, guess what? We're seeing this same adversary come back, but they've switched things up a little bit. And through our partnership with Microsoft Threat Experts, our incident response team had the entire, and I bolded that and put asterisks on that because that's super important, and I'll tell you why, kill chain before we even arrived on site. So why is that significant? So if you think about a typical incident response and you're engaging with another vendor, they need to deploy their tool set, they need to run agents all over your network, they need to set up traps. We had all of this information, all of this threat intel before our team even came on site. So we don't have to, although we still are gathering data, we're researching like we normally would. we already have that information to pivot off of, so it saves our team time and it saves you time because we want you to be able to recover faster from a security incident. And like in the beginning of the slide where we said, we've got your back, we really mean it, and we want you to be successful in running your workloads on our platform, wherever they may be. And you know, when I think back of when I came to Microsoft a long time ago, or years ago, not a long time ago, we were really Windows only. We weren't doing much across the ecosystem with Linux. We weren't doing anything with Macs either. And now you look back at, you look at the Microsoft of today, and you're like, well, Microsoft has a first-party agent in Defender ATP. Microsoft is planning for a first-party agent in Linux. Our incident response team is equipped to analyze Linux as well. It's definitely a new world. For that, thank you for joining us. And we'll get to the next slide, which they asked us to insert here as well for Fast Track. If you're not familiar with Fast Track, it's helped thousands of customers identify access management, so through Azure Active Directory Premium, and it's now introducing remote deployment guidance for securing endpoints through Defender ATP and Office 365 ATP. Also a friendly reminder that the hub closes today at 5:15, so if you have any questions, please make sure you get over there in time because they will be asking everyone to exit, get on the buses, and prepare for tonight. So with that, thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope you guys have a great day.